Once again, dear respected Thầy, dear noble community, dear brothers, dear sisters. Today is June the 12th in the year 2025. And we are in Upper Hamlet meditation hall, and the meditation hall is named Stillwater Meditation Hall. I hope that we remember the first day that we arrived at Upper Hamlet or at New Hamlet. Each of us, you have different arrival days. Yeah, I mean our first encounter, our first time arriving to Upper Hamlet or New Hamlet or Lower Hamlet, and I hope you can still remember that day. Yeah. It may be last Friday, maybe last month, last year, or last many years ago. And I would like to invite us for a little exercise together. If on that first encounter with Plum Village, geographically, if we have an impression on Plum Village in terms of the nature, in terms of nature, in terms of energy, I would like us to recall that moment up, and we can revisit that memory and try to bring it up to this very moment and see how is that first encounter of Plum Village. And now, with conditions that are available, we are in the hall, and we've been enjoying some music, some meditation on music. And right now, birds are chirping outside, beautiful sunshine outside, and a very peaceful energy in the hall. So, is there any difference or new insights when you have this kind of recollection, first encounter to Plum Village, and the experience that you are having right now? So we will continue to enjoy one more sound of the bell, and just to recall that moment up again, and try to because when you first arrive to Plum Village, you will have a lot of curiosity in terms of nature. You look here and there, because everything was our first time encountering it, right? Whether it is a little path, whether it is different corners of the hamlet, of the campus, and it was that brand new experience, and we try to recall that moment up and play and allow it to play in the present moment. So, dear Sangha, I also been back from a retreat outside, and I've just been back like 10 days ago. And when I first came back from the retreats outside, my eyes was brand new again, looking at, enjoying the beauties of Upper Hamlet. And I enjoy very much sometimes just to going out. And so the moment, the day that I return, everything becomes new again. And I realize that how beautiful it is, the place that I'm living in. And because somehow in our perception, we think that Upper Hamlet is like this. The beauties in Upper Hamlet would be like that. And in our mind, there's certain experience about Plum Village already. But actually, in the nature of things, it is changing. It is changing in every moment. I'm gonna tell you a story. So last rain retreat, we have a community of long-terms taking refuge in the monastic community to enjoy the rain retreat with us. So every year, it's now becoming a tradition. Every year we have a group of friends who come to Plum Village and commit 3 months, staying with the brothers, with the sisters. And it was very lovely that it was during the Christmas time, and the community of long-terms, they were very lovely, writing a love letter to each monastic in Upper Hamlet. And somehow the number of the long-terms and the number of the monastics, we were a bit like even. So their strategy is one long-term writes a letter to one monastic. And I also received a letter from a long-term. And actually, I mean, maybe I remember his face, but for the name, it's a bit challenging for me. So I don't remember the names actually. But in the letter, he wrote, "Dear Brother Phap, my name is Brother Phap. Thank you very much for your support, for your freshness, for your playfulness, for your smile. It's been very nourishing for me." But then the second part of the letter he wrote. But the most impressive experience that I have with which is how you play football with us on the football field. It was so cool to see you playing football. The way you ripple the ball, the way you score, how enthusiastic you were on the field. I didn't expect this. And this was his feedback for me. So I smiled a little bit reading that part. Then I had a kind of mental formation that arose. I said, "Come on!" I was inspired by when I was 16. I was inspired pretty much by seeing brothers and sisters walking beautifully, and that was my main impression. And I got inspired to again out of that. Yeah. And now I have been 17 years as a monk. And the amount of peace, the amount of freedom, my 17 years as a monastic don't impress you as much. It's just like half an hour or an hour playing football with you on the field. It's just, it's sad. Yeah, deep down my heart, I want like, okay, I have to be, I have to radiate some kind of peace, of inner peace. People, they don't have to listen to my talk in order to feel inspired. Just my way of being in general can already a source of inspiration. But he personally didn't gain the impression from that way. It's bit pity for me. It's something I have to reflect on my personal practice. That's pretty sad. But later, a few days, I had a chance to play with that feedback a little bit. One thing that I find very interesting, which is so in his mind, he used to see the monk in a certain way. So his definition about monastic is a kind of experience that he gained somewhere or sometime in the past. And when he came to Plum village, he encountered the monastics in many other funny aspects. He sees that monastics can play football very well, enthusiastically. The monastics can rap. See, our brothers here, we have many rappers. We have brothers playing beautifully, professionally, musical instruments. So our definition about a certain thing in life was somehow based mainly on our own experience, and we see it we identify it as a reality. I hope everybody can see from both sides of the hall. So in our brain, there's so when our mind is in touch with the world, is in touch with different aspects of the world, it will give rise to some information, knowledge, and ideas. So there are neural pathways in our brain that help us to perceive the world, perceive ourselves, and perceive our surroundings. So neural pathways are the chains of connection between the neurons in our brain, and the nervous system. And so, for example, when we think of something, or when we feel something, or when we act something, the signals, the chemical signals, and the electrical signals will begin to travel from one place to another, and it will form the neural pathways. And when these neural pathways are activated, it will, when there's an act or a thought or a behavior that is repeated frequently enough, the neural pathways will be automatically formed in our brain. For example, I remember like many years ago, I began to learn playing guitar, and I remember that the moment that I laid my fingers on the different chords, it was very hard at the beginning, on the first day. But then the second day, third day, the fourth day, I keep training. I know how to lay the fingers on the right place. So this is the manifestation of the neural pathways. And in Buddhism, in Buddhist psychology, we have a similar interpretation of how our mind is formed and how our mind perceives the world. So in Buddhist psychology, we talk about the 5 universals. The 5 universals are the descriptions of how our mind is formed and perceive the world according to the Buddhist approach, Buddhist psychology approach. So in the 5 universals, we have the first is contact. The contact is through our 5 sense organs, our eyes, our ears, our nose, our tongue, and our body. So these are the doors of a human to be in touch with the world of phenomena. This is the 5 sense organs. And when we are in touch with the certain objects, it will give rise to attention. We have the attention for whatever we are in touch with. When we encounter a flower, for example, when you encounter a certain thing for the first time in the day, for example, we have some attention for it. And from that experience, it will also give rise to our feeling about what we encounter through our eyes or through our ears, whatever sense organs that we are in touch with. Yeah? So the feeling would be pleasant. The feeling would be pleasant, like a flower offers us a kind of freshness, the sunshine, or the blue sky, or the leaves. Or it could be unpleasant as well. We have our own experience for that. Or it is neutral. We don't feel neither pleasant nor unpleasant. And after feeling is perception. We gain some perception about that encounter. And then the last is our volition, our will, whether to act in a certain ways, right? So this is the Buddhist approach to how our mind functions normally and perceive the world. For example, when we walk out to the garden in the morning, for example, we see a snake. We see a snake. And when our eyes see the snake, this is the eyes organ functions. It will give rise to attention, and there's a snake. This is an attention, and then it gives rise to feeling, whatever feeling that is arising in that moment, and then the perception we have. Is it a snake, or it is just a little piece of the log, of the stick? And we have perception about this. And then the volition is whether, if it is a real snake, we try to be away from it, or we try to find ways to chase it away out of our garden. And this is just a little example for us to understand the function of the 5 universals the reason that is named the universals, it is this kind of encounter is universal. It is here, is everywhere. Whenever our five sense organs are operating. So everyday lives we live, these five universals function. And somehow this kind of encounter with life, it will form us a sense of a view. We have a certain view about the world, about ourselves. Is that okay? So I would like to draw a circle, and just a symbol of how we sorry, not very round. So imagine this is how you have the idea about the world right now in your mind. It may be coming from. Sorry, I need to redraw a little bit. I'm not used to drawing circle often. Oh, sucks. A lot of training on circle drawing. Is it a little bit better? So in this circle is your life at the moment. Imagine, okay? It is your life, your perceptions about life right now. So in this circle, we have the operation of the five universals, right? The neural pathways. A little bit also from your formal education. All of us, especially if you are from the developed countries, we have at least 15, 16 years, or if you had a higher study, bachelor's, MA, PhD, it would take you 20, 25 years of formal education. And in these 15 or 20 years of formal education, we gain more information. It offers us a certain understanding about the world, right? When you were born, you didn't know how the world is, but through the formal education, you understand in certain ways that the world is like this. I am like this, and this is how I'm supposed to play the guitar. This is how I should live my professional life, something like that. So if your consciousness, your thoughts is formed partially also from formal education, right? I hope it makes sense for you. And also the perception that you have about your life, it also comes from the environment that you live, the collective consciousness that you are in. For example, if you live in the environment where you are close to school, or you are close to the whatever environment that you are in, you will somehow unconsciously get affected by the conditions that environment was providing to you. This is the environment. In other words, we can say the collective consciousness from that environment. This is a point that I really want to point out today. So we've been living our life for a certain time, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Every day we consume things from the world. Every day we read news. Every day we consume media. Every day we interact with friends, and we also encounter different stories from friends or from the environment around us. So somehow it will form a view within you that this is the world. This is, you gain some world view, and you gain some view for yourself and for your family, for the society that you're living in. And it is the day-to-day thing. Every day you have to go to work. Every day you have to have a certain daily activities that you have to be with. You cannot escape that. And every day we receive information, we receive knowledge, ideas, concepts, notions about certain things. And it comes to the fact that we somehow assume and attribute that this is the reality of the world that I am living in. And I think that, okay, in my life it should be like this. I will go to school, this university, I will take this job, I will live my life this way, that way. So this is how we perceive the world, through the information, through different elements here. And we at first thought that, okay, this is my world, this is my life, and this is the truth. This is the truth. We unconsciously perceive that this is the world. This is the reality of the world. And we enjoy one sound of the bell before I continue. In the world that I'm mentioning right now, in our approach, it is called phenomenal world. And living in this circle for a while, we will encounter some questions. I think each of us, we have different questions after living for a while in this world. And some questions we cannot find an answer, because these questions they go beyond the phenomenal world. So this is the phenomenal world. Some questions like, for example, when you experience like a beloved one in your family passes away, and we encounter deep pain. and deep grief. And we begin to ask, why and where that person goes. We don't expect the disappearance of that physical body. And we don't accept that. It's hard. It's hard, and we begin to ask ourselves that question. Because in this phenomenal world, we cannot find an answer, right? And we begin to question ourselves, where is that person? For example, each of us, if you have ever experienced a loss from our beloved one, we will understand this. Somehow that question may arise, especially when we are young. I used to ask my grandpa I was there when my grandpa was like dying, in the dying moment. And I questioned myself that a little bit. Where will he go after he stops breathing? And other questions like, why are we born in peace and other people were born in war? We cannot understand why. Or for other questions like, what am I before I was born? Or where will I be after I die? Those questions, it will momentarily come up in our mind sometimes, right? So these questions we cannot answer through the phenomenal world that we are living in. Other questions like, I used to have, why my dad hit my mom? I don't accept that. So when I was like 13, 14, after coming home from school, I saw that. My dad was hitting my mom. And I didn't accept that. As man, you're supposed to be nice to God. Let alone is your wife, is your partner, who you have a long-term commitment with, right? And I don't understand why he did that. So somehow there are questions after living in the world that we cannot find an answer, and we also experience some suffering. Each of us, we have somehow experienced loneliness. We are surrounded by people, but still, the feeling of missing out, the feeling of loneliness is there. Or when we see the war, the killing is going on, we feel compassion. And instinctively, we experience a little bit of despair and hopelessness. We can't do anything. And we get stuck at some point. And we begin to go find the answers for ourselves. So I feel like each of us, we carry within ourselves questions. And it's beautiful to have that kind of curiosity and questions, answering the very difficult questions. So in Buddhist approach, when we are too much in contact with the phenomenal world, we attribute those perceptions that we have about the world as if they were the whole truth. And that's why we suffer. While the experience that we gain through our five senses, through the formal education, through the environment that we are in, they can offer a partial view only about the reality of the world. And hope it makes sense to you this way. That's why we begin the journey of answering those questions by learning together about another aspects of reality. So down here, I can write questions. For example, the loss of beloved ones. This is just an example that we have the questions about. Or we have fear about the future. We have the fear about the unknown. We are fearful because we can't predict the future. A little bit of disconnection, loneliness, I think. We somehow experience this as well. Or we have conflicts with our family members, the ones who we used to love a lot, and now the relationship is broken, and there's pain in there, and we don't know how to love that person again. Why he did that to me, why she did that to me. So these are the situations that we may have encountered in our lives sometimes. Conflicts with family members. And another tendency that I think all of us, we have to recognize and have more intention with it, which is the tendency of overthinking. Because the amount of information up here from different aspects of life, of the phenomenal world, it's going into our mind every day. Because every day you read news. You tend to read news every time you wake up. You see what's going on in the world. And every day we accumulate knowledge and news, information. So we become overthinking. And we somehow lose the connection with the surroundings in the present moment. The tendency of overthinking. Each of us, we have our own non-stop thinking radio station. And it's even more pity when we are overthinking without being aware of it. Sometimes we overthink and we don't know. So these are the circle of our life before we encounter a spiritual life. This is a kind of life that we, maybe, okay, this is just from my personal perception. Maybe you have another experience, but this is just my approach. That this kind of life is, it may be how you experienced in the past. You have this kind of thing up here, and you have questions and sufferings down here. And you can discover more, because you have your own experience. This is just my approach. This is very humble, and it's still very little. Okay? And this is my invitation for you this morning to see whether you have other. And any of you want to let me know what you are really facing now in your life. Just speak out loud. Just offer to this collective reflection. Yeah? Anything that is in your heart that you are facing, that you find that you haven't found the answer yet. Is there any in the audience? Thank you. Okay, friend from the back, please. Any more from this side? Anyone from this side? What is really struggling in your heart right now?
Purpose. Why am I here?
The purpose, the direction. 2 days ago, I played ping pong with a young friend, and we were talking. I mean, we play, we enjoy, and sometimes we talk, we stop. And we talk a little bit. And she shared with me that before coming to Plum Village, she was a little bit losing track on her life. And she wasn't sure about what's the next step of her life. And she comes from the academic family. Her father had a strong academic background, and her grandfather also had a strong academic background. That's why the expectation of the family is for her to follow the same path. But somehow in her mind, there's a thought that this kind of academic life, it doesn't really satisfy her. It doesn't really fulfill her to the deepest level of her heart. And she gets stuck at some point, and she doesn't want to make her family members suffer. But at the same time, she wants to be true with what she really wants to do for her life. So coming to Plum Village, she somehow that concern is cleared out miraculously, just by sinking, bathing herself in the community in Upper Hamlet. So this is just a rough overview of how our life had been in the past. If you recollect the moments when you first arrived to Plum Village, you were introduced about the practice of mindful breathing, right? Of mindful walking, mindful eating, sitting meditation. It might be 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or just last week. And until today, when you come again to Plum Village, you are introduced the same way, the same thing. You are invited to continue to enjoy and train your mindful breathing, and train your capacity on mindful walking, mindful eating, sitting. So every time, and this is another circle. Hopefully this time is a little better. Not really. Oh my goodness. In my rehearsal for the talk today, I didn't train myself on drawing circle. when you begin to take an in-breath and an out-breath mindfully, you will experience a sensation of your mind being free from thinking. Right? Whenever you become aware of your in-breath, and whenever you become aware of the out-breath, your mind stops wandering. And your mind has a chance to really rest, to really be free from thinking. And if you continue to breathe and enjoy mindful breathing like that, in Plum Village, mindful breathing is an invitation. It's not a policy that you have to do when you are here. It is an invitation. It is an encouragement from the heart. And you keep being invited that way. Every time that you can remember, you are invited to enjoy mindful breathing. Because when you breathe like that, we have a chance to reconnect to our body, and we are free from the news that we read, from the things that we have watched this morning on the media, different social media that we have the accounts on. And if we continue to breathe like this, it is already a revolution for our mind. And the neural pathway that I just mentioned earlier in the talk, there's one characteristic of our brain. It is called neuroplasticity. And this characteristic of the brain allows us to train to give rise to new neural pathways. For example, you used to live in forgetfulness. You keep thinking about this and that here and there, what happens in the world, and you get carried away by what happens in the world and inside of you. But once we revisit our breathing again, we have a chance to really be free, and we regain the sovereignty for ourselves. And automatically, this is the characteristic of the neuroplasticity. It will give rise to other pathways, which is being mindful. This is being in touch with life in the present moment. And when our mind is there in the present moment, in our definition, it is the most beautiful state of mind. A mind that is free from thoughts, from overthinking, and enjoy whatever it is happening in the present moment. It is a very beautiful state of mind. And where you feel that you are recovered. Because overthinking drains a lot of energy. Yeah, you have experience on yourself. After you get wrapped up in thinking of something, you get very exhausted afterwards, right? Or you have spent hours in front of the computer. After a while, you realize that you are very tired. You are very exhausted. But once we enjoy our breathing, we take some time to revisit our breathing, we enjoy the sensation of the unitedness of the body and the mind. You find, wow, the present moment is so beautiful. The mindful breathing is so beautiful. And each of us, we can have that experience if you have ever seriously and wholeheartedly allowed yourself to really take a mindful breathing, to enjoy a mindful breathing. So when we remember, or when we have encountered the practice of mindful breathing, we see that our mind has a chance to rest. And and you continue to enjoy the practice of walking meditation when you are here. Every time you take a step, you are aware of the raw experience that you have on earth. If you walk on the gravel path, the sensation will be like this. And if you walk on the grass, the sensation would be like that. See? So this is the raw experience. And this is what I want to inspire us to practice for the coming walking meditation that we're going to do at 11:30. Because when we enjoy the raw experience in our steps, and we try to enjoy that sensation, and we are invited not to use any knowledge that we have gained in the walking meditation, because you do have your own knowledge about walking meditation. When someone asks you how to enjoy the practice of walking, you know how to explain to them. You know how to offer a beautiful, excellent explanation about walking meditation. But this morning, you are invited to unlearn that experience and just enjoy the raw experience that you have on earth every time you walk. And this exercise, it somehow helps us to look at the world at a deeper level. You begin to see the world at a deeper level because the surroundings are revealing beautifully in front of our eyes. You begin to see the flowers. You begin to see the sunshine. You begin to see the grass. You begin to benefit from the collective energy of walking together in silence that way. And you are no longer in thinking, and you are no longer in your plans, in your process. What's the next? How to find the next step for our life? How to find an answer when my beloved one passes away? You temporarily allow yourself to experience rawly what is going on in your steps, and it's a training. So the next, I can say, it is listening to the sound of the bell or walking meditation, whatever practice that you are offered here. Or when you eat, many friends in Upper Hamlet, over the past week, we have shared that we enjoy very much the practice of eating meditation, eating in silence. And yesterday we had a Q&A. And I talked about how to see in a piece of carrot that we eat every day. You cannot see the sun in the piece of carrots if our mind is not there with the food, when our mind is busy with something else. But when our mind is there for the food and for the body, you have an invitation to look deeply into that piece of carrot and ask yourself whether you can see the sun in that piece of carrot. Because without the sun, without the rain, without different elements, conditions, that carrot cannot be there. Right? If you imagine, if you, let's say, you remove the sun out of the carrot, you cannot see the carrot would not be there. Because without the sun, the carrot tree, the carrot plants cannot grow. So formlessly, there's a sun in the carrot. And you see the sun, you see the rain, you see the farmers, you see the the wind. You see the brothers who walked in the happy farms. Different elements that have come together sufficiently to manifest that piece of carrots in front of your plate. And with that experience, you begin to see life in another aspect. You encounter life in another level. You see life, the carrot is not there alone. We can see the sun, the rain, many other elements beautifully in the carrots. And when you experience a feeling of sadness, of grief, of anger, you can practice the same. You can practice the same. We are invited to go home to ourselves, recognize the presence of our anger, of the grief, of the pain. You are creating a new neural pathway of being able to embrace the pain and look deeply into the pain. Because when our mind is clear, the nature of things will reveal itself naturally. When you are concentrated enough, you begin to see your anger has certain reasons in it. Your fear has certain reasons in it. And you produce the energy of compassion, first of all, to embrace that pain, that sorrow, that grief or despair. And this is how we are encouraged to practice. So mindful eating, mindful walking, or mindful breathing, they will be never an old thing in our tradition. Because every time you breathe mindfully, every breathing is different, brings us different experience compared to another. The first breathing has experience, the second breathing has another experience. And never that two mindful breathings are alike. And the same with every step that you make. This step offers you this experience, but the second step offers you another experience. It's never repetitive. In the appearance, it looks like there's a repetitive aspect there, but actually the experience that you gain is totally new. And we enter into that network of life where the ground of being, when our mind is concentrated enough, you begin to see life at a deeper level. That is why we are always encouraged to revisit our steps, our mindful steps, every time you walk, every time we breathe, because it trains us the capacity of concentration. And when the concentration is powerful enough, it will reprise the insight. It will, and the feeling when you walk and you become one with your body, and you become one with the sunshine. I hope that we have somehow experienced this sensation in your life at least once. in some sessions of walking, you find out that wow, how beautiful life is, because you are not caught in your thoughts anymore, and you become one with life, whatever matter, things that life is offering to you, whether it is the sunshine, it is the white clouds, it's the faces of friends around you, and we become one, because these things we used to consider that's outside of us. This concept that I am here, and that is she, that is he, that is the tree. They exist separate outside of me. But don't you know that your bright face today, it comes from the beautiful sunshine that is giving. So actually, the network of life has already been in you. But it is the only truth that you don't recognize it. That's why mindfulness, it has to be powerful enough. Concentration must be powerful enough to see that interconnectedness between your life and your surroundings. And this is something that we can revisit. We have been knowing and practicing in Plum Village for some time already. And we have accumulated a certain knowledge about Plum Village practice, for example. Even us monastics. When you ask me about walking meditation, I know how to do it. But I'm not sure when I walk, I will have a raw experience on walking, or I will allow my mind to wander. But the transformation, healing, can only take place when I truly touch the raw experience that I have when I walk on the grass, when I walk on the gravel. And this is my invitation for you. And the feeling when you are in touch profoundly, deeply with life, you see that your suffering is nothing. And because that feeling is so beautiful, you gain some spiritual assets and strength. So this experience of mindful breathing, of mindful walking, mindful eating, it will empower us. It will empower us miraculously. And you know how to take refuge whenever you can to cope with what you are going through right now. When your mindfulness and concentration are strong, you feel confident. You feel that the unknown that you used to experience, now there's a glimmer. There's a glimmer. There's hope. There's an exit. And you begin to, you would feel inspired to enjoy more, to generate more moments of joy, moments of happiness. So when we deeply connect with life in this level, we see the peace in the carrots. We see the sunshine, the rain in the piece of carrots. We know how to embrace our anger, our jealousy, our direction lost in life, our despair when seeing so many wars that happen in the world right now. We can try to embrace it and try to understand from that foundation. You will encounter another realm, the second approach of Buddhism, which is the cloud of being. In Buddhist psychology, we say the world of ultimate reality, where things are deeply connected. And this realm is possible. And all of us, we can do this. It's not only monastics who can do it. You yourself can practice in such a way, because you have your own intelligence, you have your own creativity, to from time to time revisit this state of mind where you feel the connection between you and your beloved one. You feel the connection between you and the tree. Yesterday there was a friend asking us that I enjoy sitting meditation on my own a lot. I enjoy mindful breathing, but I do enjoy the trees through the window. So when we are in touch deeply with that tree, we see that, okay, the trees in the phenomenal world, it is out there, right? But with the amount of mindfulness, we see that if your mind is not there, the tree will not be there. Does it make sense to you saying that way? If you sit there with the tree or with the flower, and your mind is not there for the flower, you are not there, and the tree is not there either. So, actually, one thing that we can recognize that we are there because the tree is there because we are there. So actually, the tree is out there in you, but the tree is also in you. Without your awareness, the tree cannot be there. So it's the same with your beloved one. The same with the one that we hold dear within our hearts. They are physically out there, but at the same time, look deeply into your palms. You see your parents' palms. You see that somehow you identify to the fact that your parents, your beloved ones are in you. And your happiness is your beloved one's happiness. And your suffering is your beloved one's suffering. And the suffering of people out there in the other shore of the continent is also your suffering. And you enter into that network of life. And how you experience compassion. Compassion, true compassion can manifest only when you can connect deeply this way. And this is a ground, the foundation of our action. We feel that the comforts that we have gained from our life is not fulfilling enough. We want to take action. We want to help out of that foundation of understanding about the world, connecting to life with this practice of stopping, enjoying breathing, gaining sovereignty within ourselves, and then looking deeply. And when I first came back from the retreats, I really wanted to greet my brothers, and it's a great joy to greet my brothers. And I try to go around the residence, and whoever I meet, I will say, "Oh, hello, brother, I'm back. How are you? How you been doing?" And many brothers greet me the same way. But I noticed one brother, when I was trying to greet him, he didn't look at me. He didn't look at me. And he was like closing his eyes. And in my perception, it tells me that maybe this brother, he doesn't like me. He doesn't like me. But the day after, he was very hearty to me. He was very cheerful to me. So the perception that I had the day before, it was totally wrong. I thought that he didn't like me, but he was focusing on something else. You see? So the last thing that I'm going to mention here is that we are easily we easily perceive life mainly on our perception, and most of the time our perceptions are not correct, and we over-believe in our perception. That's why we suffer. So I hope that today, what I try to share will be some little amount of inspiration for us to enjoy the practice of unlearning, unlearning what we have consumed from the world out there, the knowledge that we have, the information that we have within our heart, within our mind. Now we try to activate our heart, yeah, and we enjoy the raw experience. For the next activities, walking, eating, or mindful conversations, so that we can revisit the beauty of life in the present moment, the wonders of life in Upper Hamlet particularly. They are there available, but it depends on how much availability that we have for them. Some people can gain a lot of joy just by being aware of the surroundings in Upper Hamlet, but some of us can get carried away still in our thoughts. So this is an invitation for us to enjoy the raw experience of whatever we are practicing today, on our steps, on our every time that we breathe, every time we speak to people, we talk to people. Are we mindful, or we are carried away by the contents in the conversation? We've been talking that way many years already. When I remember when I was in the tea house the other day just to get some water, and there were many friends there, and somehow I heard a lot of different conversations going on, and wow! And I realized one thing, that wow, the phenomenal world is so big. Everybody has our own experiences on the phenomenal world, and we forget completely that the tea house surroundings are so beautiful. But one person, he was sitting on the chair. He didn't enjoy any conversation at all, and he was sitting there with his cup of tea, and he was sitting outwards, enjoy the landscapes of Upper Hamlet. And this is what we should train. We have a lot of conversations already, but we underestimate, we take it for granted, the raw experience with life around us. And we have to be able to offer our brain a new neural pathways of being mindful, of being able to embrace whatever that is going on unpleasantly within our soul. It's something we can cultivate every day, so that when the neural pathways, the new neural pathways are strengthened and robust enough, it will give us a new direction in life. You know how to live your life after you leave Plum Village. You know how to benefit from the collective energy from walking. And when you leave Plum Village, you know what to bring along. Plum Village is not only here geographically, but we should see Plum Village, whatever you learn here, beyond that form of Plum Village. And this is something possible, and all of us, we can do that. So thank you very much for your beautiful presence and listening. I will end with a song. I will end with a song originally written by our teacher, a poem, and then he himself put it into music. And through this poem, we will see from the phenomenal world, and with the mindfulness and concentration in him, he can see the wonders of life as the ultimate things. He can see the ocean, the morning, the noon are wonders, beautiful wonders of life. And through the phenomenal world, which are the sunshine, the trees, the winter, the fall, whatever concept that we carry within ourselves, they become so beautiful in Thay's insight and in Thay's power of of dwelling deeply in the present moment. We tend to take it for granted, the wonders of life. But when we're in touch deeply with the wonders of life, we see the suchness of life through the flowers, through the noon, through the morning. And it is possible. Each concept that we have in life can become something very profound and deep. It depends on the mindfulness and concentration level in ourselves. So the poem's name is Suchness, Chân Như. So I will read. I would like to invite my brother to come up here and to offer this song to the Sangha. So the song is going to be offered in Vietnamese, and I will read the English version first. So please excuse me. This is I relied a lot on ChatGPT for the translation because I tried to find this poem in English, but I could not find it. So if the translation is weird, please help us to correct, make it beautiful. The poem's name is Suchness. The early morning breeze turns ivory pages, a boundless book of time, woven with silken threads of space. It's covered a deep green forest, each page vast as oceans within the heart. I seek the suchness in a poem. Your script, shimmering with colors of blossoms and leaves. The sky gifted the deepest sea its brightest star. Forever your eyes shine luminous. Waves rise, journeying to meet the white sands. Your forehead, pristine dawn in the east. The morning wind returns, a breath. Leaves whisper and release dew from the sky. The western sunlight becomes a stream. Threads of cloud pulled aside, so the moon may bloom in full glory. Rain, oh, how mornings pour rain. Earth and sky tremble in awakening. Frantic, roaring, swaying distant palms. Birds vanish in silver sheets of storm. I knew, trembling. Your voice echoes from the ground of being. I bow my head, empty my thoughts, eyes wet with impression. Noon, oh those noons, sinking into the absolutes. Sky a still, endless blue, a gentle call draws me inward. From the depths of mind rise sorrows of my countless lives. Leaves catch dawn light, April robes soft in hue, a fleeting fragrance of spring. You are everywhere, and your hands, those hands, blossom marvelously over all of life. A miracle arises when your slender fingers open. A dove spreads snowy wings, soaring into the peaceful sky. A hymn echoes from the distant stars. Night is still, the sky vast. Waves rise upon waves. Mighty searches reaching for the far horizon. Your words, moonlight and stardust on sacred paper. You return. A rose opens its petals. First light laughs among the frangipani, still wet with the night's last dew. A smile awakens upon the lotus bud, lids bowed. Green shores call home 1,000 illusions. Sunlight shimmers in a million drops of dew. Eyes blur with tears before the miracle of manifestation. I smile at cloud and the stream. Your poem reveals the luminous garden of Suchness. Trời cao đã cho đại dương sâu ngôi sao đẹp nhất của mình. Muôn đời mắt em ngời sáng, trung điệp sóng dồn về cát trắng trinh nguyên. Vầng trán phương đông gió mái thoảng về hơi thở. Cành lá thì thầm để rơi những giọt sương, trời lạc đác tây phương ra trời là suối những sợi tơ trời ven gọi để cho trăng nỡ tuyệt vời. Mưa những sáng tuôn mưa, trời đất chuyển mình rồi dập thét gào. Những đọt cau xa quằn quại, những con chim trong màn mưa vàng. Tôi quỳ xuống rưng rưng, tôi gục đầu lắng hết tâm tư, mắt đầm để nhớ. Chưa ôi những buổi trưa lặng vào tuyệt đội, trời cao xanh ngắt. Bâng khuâng nghe tiếng gọi tôi về, tìm thức dâng tràn u hoài của thăng trầm mấy kiếp. Lá đón nắng hồng mãi đến, chiếc áo tháng tư nhẹ sắc thoáng hương kỳ ảo. Chim bồ câu xòe cánh trắng, cao vút trời xanh hòa bình tỏa dạng. Tiếng ngợi ca vẳng lại từ những tinh cầu xa. Đêm bình yên trời cao, biến dâng từng đợt sóng, và từng đợt sóng cao to hào hùng hơn cả, đang vươn mình tìm tới tận chân trời. Nét chữ trăng sao trên tờ thơ màu nhiệm, em về hoa hồng hé cánh, tia nắng đầu réo vui trên màu hoa dại còn đầm ướt sương khuya. Nụ cười tới trên cánh hồng sen úp mi he nở, trời xanh xanh hương xa gọi về muôn huyền tưởng. Long lanh mặt trời trói rạng trong màn sương động giọt, mắt mờ ánh lệ trước nhiệm màu. Tôi mỉm cười nhìn mây nước, bài thơ em hé vườn sáng chân như. Thank you for your listening. We'll end with 3 sounds of the bell.